I need a Miller Lite.
Tomahawk City.
Get ready, boys.
Oh, we're going to just blow them all up
Just
right now.
keep pushing buttons, John. We don't even have to do a cold open. We'll just do a empty the drop list. Owen must be stuck in traffic again. Thanks, John and Josh.
Need some milk.
Why? A win with a capital W. This is the DLS Dallas Stars postgame show as the Stars beat the Washington Capitals by a 3-1 score, and they did so snapping a 10-game Washington road winning streak. They were on a 9-game point streak overall, and the Stars win for the 13th time in 15 games at American Airlines Center. And we talked about it before, Luds. By the way, this is Craig Ludwig. I'm Owen Newkirk. He's John Anderson. John, say hi. There he is.
Hello.
And, of course, Sam Nestler will be joining us a little bit later. The two teams they lost at home, and when I mean home, I don't mean in Finland where it counted as a home game. You wouldn't expect because it was the Anaheim Ducks in a rebuild and the Nashville Predators who had a horrible start to the season but have played really hard against the Stars in 2 games this year. So, heck of a nice performance tonight. That was one of those games that was in the balance, and the Stars fought back from an early goal against, took the lead, and then they held on to it and gave them very little in the third. I thought it was a heck of a hockey game. Really, two really good teams going at it.
It was. I'm not going to say the same about the first period. There wasn't a lot going on. It didn't seem like in the first period, but the game picked up in the second. Obviously there was a goal there, but I just thought it was kind of quiet. What were there, 15 shots maybe total?
It was really quiet in the first period. Yeah. Honestly, I thought the Stars weren't that dynamic early in the game. They got better in that second period.
And that's what's encouraging about it because, you're at home. We know how good they are at home, is that you come out of that and you're not exactly where you want to be, but you're not discouraged going into the second period and coming out for the second period. So I just think that they kind of kept their wits about them. And listen, we're right there, and we know we can be better than we played in the first period, and they came out and did exactly that.
Well, they got the win, and they now have won a couple in a row, which is important because they've gone on this weird little stretch, Luds. When you look at the Stars game by game over the last little bit, they're 6-5 in their last 11 games. That sounds pretty good. Okay, but they're now 3-3 in their last 6, right? It was lose 2, win 3, lose 2, win, loss, win, and now they won again. That's fine. They're a above 500 team. They're in a playoff spot. They've got some games in hand. No issues. But if you want to be in the upper echelon, you've got to put together some strings, and they did that. They won 3 in a row. They won 3 in a row again. It'd be nice to win 3 or 4 in a row again because they've got 2 more teams coming in this week with Toronto and the Rangers. But the point is that they started to show, those 2 losses in LA and Vegas remind you of the Carolina and Chicago ones were tough, especially after dominating the Hurricanes front. So just over this 10-game stretch, they're not 8-2, 7-3. They were 5-5. Now they're 6-5 because of the win tonight.
It's kind of the way individual players have gone too, in a way.
Very true.
I think that jamiebenn for me has been consistent, and I think he's been pretty good. I mean, he's on the power play. He does his things, but what we're seeing now is Roope is going. Robo's getting to be closer to what we're expecting. There's a little more life there. I think as far as the other line as far as Duchesne and Marchment go, I think they're making individual things. I mean, it's not. Again, we know that it's not Tyler Seguin over the right-hand side and the chemistry that they had. What they're getting, those 2 guys, it seems like they're creating on their own a lot. And there's not a lot of tic-tac-toe, what we're used to seeing there. And Stankoven, again, he's on that wing, but he just continues to do what he does. But I think the game is getting a little bit more complete, and I think that it's still work in progress for this group.
You remember Robert Tiffin, who's the writer that covers the Stars that we had when he was over in Finland? He was on our show. Robert and I were sitting next to each other. Sam was on my other side. So we're having conversations during the first couple periods before I had to come back here. And before Dallas picked up the offense, and it was, because of the power play, which we'll talk about, it kind of felt like the Stars were sort of stuck in somewhere between first and second gear. Mm-hmm. And I looked at Robert and I said, boy, obviously you never want to lose a guy like Seguin, but it really hurt that they lost one of the guys from their top producing line to start the season, and you hate to say it's too bad it wasn't somebody else that got hurt, because you never want to wish anybody to be injured. But if you had removed a forward from any of the other three lines, it wouldn't have been as impactful at that point in the season as it was taking Seguin off that, arguably one of the best lines in hockey through the first 25 games or so.
Well, really, we lost from last season. We lost the two top guys on the right-hand side, on the top two lines. That they're still, trying to find that chemistry, and they did find it. Obviously, that line when Segi was over there, and now they're trying to rekindle that with someone new. So it's not going to be as fluid, I think, as you'd want it to be. So they are what their record is, and how you kind of are explaining it. Like they're not putting 5-6 game runs together. They're staying there. They're staying in the race. And I think what they're doing is they continue to get a little bit better, a little more chemistry between everybody, and they're still finding ways to hang around that spot, even though they'd like to be climbing up the ladder a little bit quicker right now.
The first chance of the game, Mason Marchment stole a puck and had a grade A opportunity, and Charlie Lindgren made a really good save there. That's in the first period. And then Taylor Radish was wide open. This was, again, first couple of minutes, and Jake Oettinger made the thing I would say about this game. The two kids from Lakeville, Minnesota, really showed a heck of a goaltending performance, both sides.
Yeah, they lived up to their billing. And that's the only thing, to be honest, only thing I wrote down about the first period, except for the goal that was scored, was it was about the two goalies. The two goalies exchanged good saves.
Yeah, and those were the best ones. The rest were, I had chances at 7-6 Washington in the first period. Stars outshot the Capitals 9-6, and they had a few more shot attempts, but they didn't create a ton of scoring chances off those shots. And so slight edge to the Caps, and they get the goal from Dylan Strome on what looked like just a floater from the point, but Strome got a tip on it, and that's all that mattered.
Yeah, when we were watching Lian Bichsel, Game 3, and we're keeping a close eye on him, and I didn't think it was a great start like he had in the first couple. On that particular shift, he threw a couple pucks around the wall. He gave a couple away, got out of the zone. It came back and attacked. He stepped up near the defensive blue line a little high. Then he had to try to recover to the back of the net. And when Strome came to the front of the net, kind of on a little bit of a drive-by, Bichsel gives him a little shove. But he doesn't stay with him. And what he did is he kind of helped out Strome. He should be saying thank you, because Strome created some space. If he'd have stayed with him, he wouldn't have got a stick on that. So I just thought it was a tough shift for him. And unfortunately, when you have those tough kind of shifts, I was sitting there going, oh, no. And then you just think something. But what happened was when it got out of the zone, because there was a little struggle when it first came into the zone. And then when the puck got out, but it got to the red line, and I don't know if it was a forward defenseman for Washington, stepped right up, and they just counterattacked right away. And then he was kind of back on his heels. And that was just one that, we couldn't keep out of our net by Jake.
You'd like to see him be maybe touch tight? Once
you're
to him,
and again, it's kind of the way they play anyway.
Yeah.
You got your guy, you stay with your guy. This one, there was like 4 feet separated. When he came to the front of the net, Strome did, he just kind of shoved him, and then he stopped his feet instead of kind of following up, a couple feet higher. So you just stay contact, make sure when a shot comes, you get a stick up off the ice.
Well, that's the only goal of the first period. Sam Steele had a grade A chance right at the end, point blank on a wrist shot off a rebound. He keeps doing really good things. Sometimes I'm surprised he doesn't get more points, because he has the talent. I think he reads the game really well. He's a very intelligent player. We obviously have a nice little graphic for Ardell about Mr. Steele, but
what is it? What is that graphic?
It's
that's that Superman
that big
thing.
Superman right there. It's a nice bit of Photoshop, I have to say. It's clean lines.
It came out much better than I thought it would. Oh, except it's right over where my camera apparently comes up.
You just be look. We got with the
Kinda
Man of
looking over his
Steel
left
with
shoulder.
John over his shoulder.
The
There
new
he is.
Superman just got unveiled today too.
You,
so I
you
guess
make
we'll
a
have to
good
update
Lois
that.
Lane in the background.
He's more of a Clark Kent than a Superman.
Who? Oh, me?
That's what Les was. He
Why?
was
Because I
saying.
have glasses. I mean, you're comparing. I mean, that's a good-looking man. I'll take that one.
Yeah.
I was talking about Lois Lane.
Doesn't Clark get Lois in the end anyway?
I think he gets her much sooner than the end. I think they have children and everything, right?
Do they? My DC universe arc is sadly lacking a bit, but
Unlike your hockey arc.
I'm sure somebody's chatting the answers.
I'm sure somebody in the chat can enlighten us on the full versions of Superman. All right, so second period, and they get a couple of grade A chances. It's one guy, so they get a power play. That was one of the things in the arena tonight, Luds. They weren't happy with the officiating. They Caps had a power play in the first period. They didn't get anything fun. In fact, the Stars actually had a sharp angle chance from Jamie Benn shorthanded. But then Oscar Beck got called for tripping as the buzzer sounded. So they started the Capitals the second period with a 5-on-4. And Tom Wilson had a nice little redirection. Oettinger made the save. The rebound goes to Connor McMichael at the left post. And Jake stretches out the right pad. That was a sensational save.
That was an incredible save. Right? That was a timely save. Otherwise, you go down 2 goals.
Then you get that nice pass out of the zone from Marchment. Duchesne zips in on a breakaway, dekes and shoots. And this will be something to keep an eye on a little bit later because Lindgren has a tendency to fall forward when he's and kind of attack a shooter when they get close to him. And while that takes away an angle on Duchesne, it also opens up some area above him. It makes him smaller. Well, he stopped Duchesne on that breakaway. And then Connor McMichael again could have scored. He was wide open. He put it right off the crossbar.
Yeah, that's where I was saying that, it kind of they were exchanging chances. And one team said, here, you go ahead. Now you go ahead.
So you go along for a while, and then John Carlson takes a high-sticking penalty or gets sent to the box because he catches Jamie Benn up in the face. And that's at 13:06. So again, almost 3/4 of the second period have been played, which is why through that part of the game, we're kind of going, wow, Dallas hasn't really done a whole lot. The Duchesne breakaway was great, but then other than that, Lyubushkin had a nice wrist shot shorthanded, but it wasn't high danger. Stankoven had a soft backhander. That's it for almost 2/3 of the period.
Time to get up and go grab a beer and a hot dog.
And I looked over at Robert and Sam and said, boy, this feels, I think Robert said it to us. He goes, I think this is one of those nights where if they ever get a power play, they need to score. Well, they did just that.
Well, first off, Washington's power play was awful.
It was.
It would.
How much is that on them and how much is it on the Stars penalty killing?
Well,
in your mind?
Well, I look at their entries to start with. I mean, I don't understand. They're not Dallas, and Dallas now is getting their entries down, from the first, 10, 15 games. Of a bit of
Are
a
you
struggle.
saying that the Stars power play coaching may actually know what they're talking about?
Yeah, I think
entries.
Yeah, they didn't just get
possession.
stupid in 2 years. You know what I mean?
I mean,
So-
when they were struggling, all we heard was fire Steve Spott, and you're telling me he may have an idea how to
it
coach
may have
an
been
NHL.
premature. So he's still there, and they're getting it put together.
Just wait till the conference finals. It'll go away.
We'll worry about that when we get there, hopefully. So Stars get that power play, and it takes 22 seconds. And what it started with, and you probably have already broken it down, so I'll let you do the grunt of it, but was a shot block, but the Stars got the retrieval and started to move the puck, and eventually it sets up Roope Hintz.
Well, and you've got the extra guy out there, so you have to make sure that when there are, whether it's a rebound or somebody gets in front of one, that there has to be people coming to it so you can grab it. But I just thought that on that play, Wyatt gets out he's out on the right point, and he makes a nice little pass. It kind of looks like he's going to take the shot. He moves it down to Jamie Benn, who was in his normal spot in front of the net. Jamie makes a decision. He slides off to the left-hand side of the net. And Jamie was it's almost like a copycat play of the other night where Jamie gave it to Robo. But Jamie was on the other side of the ice. Robo kind of points, comes over to his one-timer side, and then So when it goes down to Jamie just one touches it, and the puck was kind of bobbling when it came to him. And he opens up his blade a little bit to make it as flat as he can so the puck doesn't bounce over. He kind of cradles it just a split second and just moves it right away to Roope. And, and again, Rope's obviously he's on the right-hand side of the ice. He's not on his one-timer side, but he releases that and elevates it so quick, and he's got the muscle on it from over there. And it's very similar to the next goal he scores, but, it's one of those tic-tac-toe plays.
12th of the year for Hintz. Benn and Johnson, the assists at 13-28. Power play goal. And remember I was talking about Lindgren kind of going forward and his shoulders were dropping as he attacks low. Well, because as you said, Luds, Hintz elevates and it goes over the right shoulder right as he's dropping and making himself smaller. Look, Kari Lehtinen, I love the way he played. He was so big and technical, but he at times for the Stars had a tendency to get low, especially on rebounds. And for a 6'5" goalie,
making yourself small,
didn't look like he covered as much net as he should, right? And you're sitting there going like, keep your shoulders up.
Yep.
You're going to take away too much. But in this instance, because he elevates, if he shoots low, Lindgren makes that save.
I'm thinking that this is pre-scouting also. You know what I mean? Like they have all these scouting and the goalie coach for Dallas. We'll talk to the forwards and say, listen, here's how he plays. Here's spots you guys should be shooting at.
We're going to talk about a fight next here on the DLS Dallas Stars post-game show and some more goals.
Well, then I suppose it's time for Herman Marshall. Founded in 2010, Herman Marshall, Dallas County's first legal distillery since the repeal of Prohibition, located in historic downtown Wiley, Texas, is proud to partner with the Guns N' Hoses Foundation of North Texas on a single-barrel expression of its signature straight bourbon whiskey. The Guns N' Hoses Foundation is a nonprofit organization dedicated to providing immediate financial assistance to the families of fallen police officers and firefighters lost in the line of duty. They're built from the grain up through family, fellowship, and friends. So for every bottle of single-barrel straight bourbon whiskey, Herman Marshall donates 15% of its revenue to the Guns N' Hoses Foundation of North Texas for those who went before. Stop into your closest goody-goody liquors and other fine retailers.
Let's talk about Game Time. Game Time is focused on togetherness this holiday season. That means when you bring people together at live events, the experience is that much better. And it's the perfect gift. Now, I'm not saying that you need to get tickets from Game Time for your office Christmas party, because frankly, that's probably over the agreed upon limit. But for your friends, your family, your kids, what better way to celebrate the holiday season than by getting tickets from Game Time? Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for live events even easier, filters out the fluff. You get the lowest price guarantee. You get Game Time ticket coverage you can purchase, a flexible customer service policy from the ticket industry, all-in pricing, seat views, and more. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Create an account and use the code DLLS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code DLLS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it?
It's game time.
Yeah. Why is it when Sam's here for our road games, he doesn't have that kind of enthusiasm? I just don't know. Let's get to this scrap, Luds. Stars are tied 1-1 in the second period. Again, it's after the, there's 13:28 was the time of the goal. So we're talking about inside the last 6.5 minutes of the game. And there were a couple of shifts that I was watching Brendan Smith and Brandon Duhaime go at each other around the Dallas crease. And this was before this fight, a shift or two before. And we were looking in the press box going, there might be something to this. Like this is building. Well, then Duhaime backs into Jake Oettinger. And who takes exception to that? Miro Heiskanen.
Miro got him with a good cross check right across the back.
That kind of checked down
I was
low.
surprised he didn't get a penalty for that.
Well, they gave a penalty for cross-checking, but they gave it to Brendan Smith, which was a bit of a cop-out. They also didn't call the Duhaime into Oettinger in live play, but after the fight, they tacked that on. But nobody put their arm up for a penalty on the Stars or on Duhaime for hitting the Stars goalie.
Yeah, he ultimately got the cross-check from Smith, right? And then they go at it. So
that's right.
So, I mean, and it was a good tilt. That's what I love about Brendan Smith. He reads the temperature well. I mean, he's a veteran guy, and he's not a heavyweight. neither is Duhaime. So
No.
So there are a couple little agitators that go at it, and it was a good little bout for both teams. I'm sure that both clubs came out of it thinking that they, did the right thing to spark their club.
Duhaime, of course, in a 1-1 game, I would give him the win in the fight. But Smith, he told me after his fight he had, I'm trying to say, was it in Minnesota, I think? I think it was Minnesota. Didn't he fight Jake Middleton?
Yes.
I don't remember, wasn't it?
Yeah, and
Yes, he did.
that's he's on the wrong end of that one.
As far as the tail of the tape.
Yeah,
And but he won it.
Yep.
And then Dumba got into a fight and did pretty well. Well, Smith said to me after that, when they came back home, that he doesn't always like early in the fight because if he doesn't get the right grip or the right stance, he's at a disadvantage. And so in that Middleton one, he said, I needed to wear him down and get into the long game because I wasn't going to get any shots off early because he didn't have the upper hand. Well, in this one, you could see that he was trying to lengthen this scrap out. He's big into that, except that he lost his balance. And as soon as Duhaime got him down, the linesmen started to come in. And Smith told me the last time when he was fighting in Minnesota, he was yelling at the linesman, stay back, stay back. I'm not done with this guy yet. He's getting all of me, which I loved. I love the enthusiasm of it. But he didn't win this one. But it didn't matter, did it?
Right. No, it didn't. The purpose and the intent was exactly what it was supposed to be. When you initiate contact with a goaltender, listen, players that'll come in and stand in front of a goaltender, they know if there's somebody else that's going to give them a little shove, and they'll take advantage of it. And that's what Miro did, and he didn't like the way it went about, and so Brendan comes in and finishes it.
So that was 3 minutes after the goal of game time. Not actual real time, but game time.
Game time. Oh.
Hey, see?
Oh.
Enthusiasm.
Okay, there you go.
Sam, if you're watching, which you probably aren't yet, take notes. So about a minute later, the Stars take their first lead of the night, and it turns out to be the game-winning goal. And it's that rookie sensation that Luddy was picking apart, rightly so, in the first period, as Lian Bichsel scores his second goal in his third career game at 17:35 from Robertson and Maverick Bourque. Who doesn't get the assist on this but deserves a massive amount of credit is Roope Hintz.
I am dangerous.
Thanks, Maverick.
He made the whole play. I mean, when the puck goes in and it goes down to the wall, and Sandin can hear him coming. And
He started from behind the red line on that forecheck.
Well, and Roope was coming.
That's what I mean.
It wasn't like 2/3. And he scared the bejesus out of Sandin. So Sandin just kept looking over his right shoulder and at Roope coming. And as he's looking over his shoulder, he keeps moving to his left, basically saying, you can go ahead first. You go ahead, go get the puck. And Roope did. He makes the whole play. He gathers it. He gets it back out. Then he goes to the front of the net, and he's standing in front of the net when the goal is scored.
Now, it was a bit fortuitous.
And it kind of bounced off that poor guy that was still –
It was.
He was recovering from the corner.
Sandin had a shot from Bichsel, who was going, 10 feet wide.
Yeah. And it's a good thing he was so far in the corner getting away from Roope.
Otherwise, it just goes harmlessly
right into his pads.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, it hit off of Sandin, goes in the net. You feel for Charlie Lindgren because that's nothing he can do. It's helpless for the goalie when it redirects that viciously. But it's the hustle from Hintz. And look, for not being remotely on target, you can't argue with the kid's. He's got 2 goals in 3 games.
No, I mean, he did the right thing. I mean, and when he gets the puck at the point, he doesn't look for another play. He makes sure he gets it to the net. He's got a quick release, long reach, long stick. And, he does a couple. He did wind up with, on one tonight I saw that came from Miro off of a faceoff, and he got a lot of that one. But no, I think he just does the simple things, the easy things.
So through 2 periods of play, again, that second period got very interesting, those last 6 minutes or so. And the crowd really got into it. It was a lot of fun. And then we go to the third period, and Luds, it was kind of a bit of a defensive masterclass from the Stars in the sense that they only gave up 1 high-danger chance, and that was to Dubois fairly late in the period. Still 5-on-5. It wasn't when they pulled the goalie. They had a couple chances. Duchesne hit the crossbar. He probably should have scored. You think it rolled a little?
It did. I paused it on my little computer there, and you could see the puck just sat up on his stick perfectly flat. And again, that's probably what makes the difference of just that half an inch or so.
And he hit the crossbar squarely. And then Oscar Beck had a wide-open rebound, hit a one-timer. Lindgren made a great save there. Stars could have added that third goal. They held Washington to 4 quality chances in the third period. And they get the insurance goal they need. Hintz from Robertson. Robertson with 2 assists. Hintz with 2 goals, now tied with Duchesne with 13 goals for the team lead. And that's with 5 minutes to go. And Luds, that was the last scoring chance of the game. 5 minutes to go. And like I talked about this in football, not on this show, but there's those plays from a mature team, right? We all get excited about the 60, 70-yard bombs, big touchdowns, and the thrill of it. But you get a team that gets the ball back with like a 3 to 7 point lead late in the game, and they're able to run the ball for like 6 first downs and just run the clock out. Yep. That's mature football. This kind of reminds me of your team. The ability to manage and close down a game and say, you're not coming back in this. Sorry, it's over.
You're really taking away the quality scoring areas of the ice. You know they have the extra attacker. They're looking for the right lane. And if you don't have an opportunity to jump on the puck, you keep it tight. And so all of a sudden you have 5 guys that are staying in those shooting lanes, and they're giving you the perimeter of the ice. And what happens to the team with the extra attackers, they're getting annoyed because they can't get pucks there. Mm-hmm. But again, the enemy mainly for them is the clock, and then they start trying to force a couple pucks through that get knocked down, and they get cleared out, and then they got to kill another 10, 15 seconds to go get it again.
And so with that, the Stars snap the 10-game road winning streak for the Capitals. The team with the best home record beats the team with the best road record in the NHL. The Capitals, look, they have not had a lot of success against the Dallas Stars in recent history. Dallas has been dominating the series. Doesn't mean it's always been one-sided. It's been close. The results have been in favor of Dallas, except for earlier this year. But they've found a way to win a lot of games against Washington. But I have to say, this Capitals team is impressive. Like there's some things that are ugly. The power play, their entries, not obviously Ovechkin not being there is a part of it. But they're a pretty good hockey team, and they seem to know what they are.
I think they're playing with confidence, right? And you watch where they play it. There's nothing complicated about it. A lot of their game is driving through the neutral zone. They get pucks in deep. They forecheck, and they throw pucks to the net. And they always usually have somebody in front. So it's pretty cut and dried how they're having their success. And I think they typically do a pretty good job in front of their goaltender, giving him shots that he can see and trying to pick up and clear out the rebounds.
We have the Stars with a 19th win of the season, 13-3 at home, and that includes a Finland loss. Waiting to see if John was going to do it.
Sorry, I'm preparing myself for battle based on a super chat we just got.
I think I just saw that. If you attack John's Pixar love, you're in trouble, especially Inside Out. But we'll get to that. And I think, let's see, we got a couple more minutes, so we don't have to get to your chats quite yet. We will do that. Luddy, we have Sam coming up. We have the chats. We'll do all of our other things. But now Dallas has 2 things going on. They're getting the wins back, 2 in a row at home. They have some sort of virus going through the team. No Thomas Harley tonight. Nils Lundqvist left during the third period. We don't know. We'll find out more. Maybe Sam has an update on that. You've got Toronto on Wednesday. You have the reeling New York Rangers on Friday. Toronto's going to be a tough one. They always seem to give the Stars fits. I don't know what it is, if it's because it's the Toronto media, the national and international spotlight, the fact that there's usually a bunch of suburban Toronto Dallas Stars players, and they want to show out well. But lately, Dallas has not gotten a lot of results against the Leafs. That being said, it's a busy week. You're the Stars after a win tonight. Is tomorrow's practice and then optional, or are you going to try to rest up with this virus going on?
No, I think they'll come in, and they might just have a couple of meetings. Some guys will go on the ice, so they'll make it kind of like a mandatory optional for a few guys.
Yeah.
And the guys that need to get the rest, and if they're feeling a little bit under the weather, they'll probably keep them away. But I'm and again, when you do that, a lot of times you get a lot of guys, most guys will go out there anyways. You get a little sweat in, 10, 15 minutes, loosen up and get going. So,
this isn't going to be any kind of full-on, really hard kind of skating.
It's not going to be battle drills.
Yeah.
No. I mean, they might work on a couple little positional things, in the offensive zone, power play setups or something. You could almost call it a sweats practice. I mean, they won't, but that's what you kind of go through the motions there. But you mentioned Toronto. The reason that I think Toronto can give Dallas problems, especially in the defensive zone, the system that Dallas has and the way that Toronto plays is they are on the move, and they're all over the ice. I mean, you'll find Mitch Marner will be on the left side. Next thing you know is on the right side. And then now you got 2 guys going Matthews would be over on the right side, and so they do a lot of interchanging, and they keep the puck, and if they keep the puck and they're doing a little of interchanging, and you have these little moving picks, and it's hard staying with your guy at times, and then when there's a crack, they're able to make that quick pass for a good scoring opportunity.
We're talking about practice. Sam Steele told me, I think it was Sunday. It could have been for the Nashville one, maybe even Nashville. He usually goes out for optional morning skates.
Yeah.
Why? Because touches. He said, he had sort of a wry smile. He goes, some games you don't touch the puck very much. Many games you don't touch the puck. It's hard to work on the feel of the puck, the passing, the shooting, when you're doing a lot of skating and not a lot of puck play. And the only way to do it is morning skates and practices.
Yeah, see, I never wanted to touch the puck, so it's better for me to stay off because I just kind of give it to Zuby or Hatch or somebody.
Well, I'm going to sneeze, or at least try to avoid a sneeze, and we will talk about your chats next. If you're in the chat watching right now, maybe drop a line and let us know where you're watching from. Around the country, around Texas, anywhere. Let us know. Right here on the DLS Dallas Stars postgame show. Let's talk about Sleeper. Best fantasy league platform out there. Put your puck knowledge to the test by picking whether your favorite or least favorite players will have more or less than their projected stats each week. Tonight, we've got a marquee game, the late game. Avs Canucks getting underway right now. Cale Makar is essentially free money. I'll take Makar to record more than half a point. He's Cale Makar. He always seems to find the score sheet. That is a good way to try to, lean into that. Maybe you get something out of it. With Sleeper, the more picks you combine, the more you can win, all the way up to 100 times your money. Sleeper keeps you in the loop with instant alerts for breaking news and major injuries. Stay ahead of the game and keep track of league updates in real time, so you're always informed and ready to outsmart your friends. If you think you have what it takes, download the Sleeper app. Use the code DLLS STARS to get up to a $100 match for your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. And now let's talk about Empire. Empire, you get shop at home convenience, the right product for your needs, quick and professional installation, and a low price guarantee. It doesn't always mean that they are going to have the lowest prices. They're going to have high quality stuff at the lowest prices they can be, meaning some people will offer lower prices, but it's stuff that you would never put in your home and they wouldn't put in theirs. So why would you put it in yours? So go to Empire. It's the best place. Plus, our main studio flooring right here in the lounge is from Empire. Schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive a $350 off discount when they use the promo code DLLS. Restrictions apply. See empiretoday.com/DLLS for details. All right. I believe that John is already having smoke coming out of his ears because we're about to do super chats and some regular chats, and people are going at him about one of his most dear core memories. Thank you.
That was an excellent I like that.
And I got to stand up for our producer. He's a backbone of this show. John, do you want the floor?
Yeah, and normally we would go from the top of the super chats, but I'm just going to get this one out of the way as quick as possible. Patrick G, we appreciate you listening, my friend, but you are so horribly wrong about this.
Bing bong.
So yes, like there is those Side Talk New York videos as I move myself so we can see the chat. Like, yes, those use the bing bong sound. They also didn't come out until 2019. I don't know when the Knicks got good again. Inside Out came out in 2016. If you go and you listen to those videos and you go watch the movie Inside Out, it is literally the sound that Bing Bong the elephant.
I think he hit a nerve here.
Bing bong.
That is the sound that Bing Bong the elephant makes. And then they took that and they put it in those videos, and they also
Bing
play
bong.
that at the American Airlines Center. It is from Inside Out. Those videos took it from Inside Out. Anyways, next super chat.
Bing bong.
Thank you, Patrick.
That's it? That's all you got?
We've got let's see. We've got a Hintz. Wow, a Hintz. We don't get a lot of Hintz super chats. Look at that. Hintz and then a little Bichsel from I Love Misty 1985. Roope and Lian Bichsel. That is all. I mean, that's a pretty generous super chat for that is all. But yeah, look, 3 goals from those two.
Too bad we didn't have Gretz here.
Oh, I know.
You know what I mean?
Well, we do have
we
the
could get Sean
99
a plane
Cup
ticket.
here.
Yeah.
A little 99 for Stars, a little give maybe an 03 for Luds. We'll work on it. All right. What's
Bing
next?
bong.
Super chat of Haskinen and 99. Thank you, T Farmer. Bichsel is really good at hockey. Are we surprised he's ready for the NHL already? Pleasant surprise for me. Do you want to tap any excited breaks on them, or do you want to let them be thrilled?
Yeah. No, I mean, again, for a 20, is he 20 now or 21? Yeah, he's somewhere in that
I'll let
neighborhood.
you know in a second.
I think he's 20. Anyway, for a 20-year-old-ish to be stepping in game 3 and, playing 16 minutes a night.
He's 20.
He's 20.
Yep.
Okay. So
He'll be 21 in May.
Okay.
So in the middle of a long playoff run, May 18th, he would turn 21.
You know what? I would tap the brakes. You're right. Because tonight wasn't as good as game 1 and 2. And we saw in game 2, as a matter of fact, when he got out against a couple of little speedier guys, Cairo in general, there were some coverage issues. And tonight early on, I thought he was getting pucks and he was throwing them around the wall, and he could have made, plays and things like that. But again, he's playing a lot of minutes, and they're kind of working him into this thing. So I would just, he knows that he's a physical guy. And it seems to me right now, when he gets up against a speedier player, he wants to stop his feet and reach to hit him. And that's where he's getting in trouble.
Because it's probably worked at every level up until now, right?
Yeah,
because of how big he is.
Exactly. So, but again, that's all things that he's going to catch up. And with those guys, smaller players that are, little water bugs, you kind of take away the middle of the ice and let them skate themselves into a corner. And then you just get over and you kind of finish them. Because when you want to put a big hit on a smaller player, a lot of times you don't get most of them. And it makes you look like
I'm
a
laughing
fool.
because I Love Misty just wrote in the chat, Downer Luds. But here's the thing. I'm going to stick up for Luds here. He's right. A couple people sent me questions on Twitter yesterday, today, about, when Bichsel was sent down and called back up, it was, cap-saving moves, and it's not far away, and they didn't practice yesterday anyway, saying, do you think he's up in the NHL for good? And the answer was, I'm not ready to make that claim yet. And the reason why is twofold. One, because we don't know Matt Dumba's health. There's still, salary cap issues that they'll have to figure out, although they are under the cap right now. If they make any other moves, we'll get to that. But the other thing is just simply a massive amount of prospects do not get called up and stick the first time. It is normal to get your feet wet, play really well because you're on a high in your first game or two, and then kind of dip a little bit. And that's not a shot on any of the players. It happens to most. Roope Hintz did not stick in his first couple of times up. He had to go up and down a few times before he finally was able to figure it out and stick. Thomas Harley showed some offensive side, but really showed the coaches a lot of issues. Remember with Rick Bowness saying, I'm not worried about what he's doing offensively. It's the defensive mistakes that's causing us trouble. And he had to go figure that out first. Wyatt Johnston is an outlier, right? There are very few guys that show up as a teenager and stick and keep getting better. That's not normal. So, yes, our very own Captain Canada, a.k.a. Wyatt. And that's why you should not quite yet say, buy a place in Dallas, Lian, you're here. Also because he is on his entry-level contract and he can be sent down. And so for cap moves, for roster spaces, for needing him to play, let's not get too excited. However, Luds, with all the things we talked about and the things that may or may not be super polished yet for him, if he keeps laying out guys like Braden Shen into the bench, even though it was a play that led to a scoring chance for St. Louis, and he keeps throwing pucks on net and they go in, coaches are going to want to have him around.
Yeah, but you don't want him to become, that guy that doesn't play the way you want him to play in his own end. And that's just going to be, there's a learning curve for this whole thing. And so he's got to figure out how he's going to play against smaller players and speedier players, heavier players. Heavier players, I don't think he has a problem with. I mean, I think he wants to go up against them and make it that, hey, I'm the heaviest, dude here. So, but the other thing is you're not going to me, if you're not going to play him, then he needs to go play. It's not a situation.
And play a lot of minutes down.
Yeah, and it's not a situation where you're going to, where they've been kind of going in and out with players. This is not a guy that, you want him to continue to play games and then always be ready to play when he comes here. And so it's not like he's going back. He may be staying here the whole time. But I just think that you're going to see waves of little boo-boos here and there, and then we're going to see who he is. That's just the way it works.
I was chuckling because John wrote in, Luds is the reason he isn't developing as well as he can't have beers with you legally.
No comment.
But no, on the
It's 17 in Wisconsin, I think. 16 or 17.
is that right?
So-
Still?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold on. Let's do a fact check on that.
Okay, check that out because I don't believe that to be true.
It's 21, you two clowns.
Lawyered. Luds, how about
In Eagle
this?
River, we don't have one.
Texas Swiss goes, then ask the
it's
bigger
20
question.
It's 21.
Is Lian Bichsel right now better? This is from Texas Twist. Is he better than Matt Dumba this season? Minus the injury, like what you've seen, not including Smith, just Dumba. And then somebody else asked, is he one of your top 6 right now, Lian Bichsel?
I think he's an element you would like to have back there
Yes.
for sure. You know, so I don't want to compare him to Matt, but especially in playoff hockey, you know, and again, it's a different level at playoffs and things happen faster and there's other things that come up. But I think you can use his size, his weight, the way that he wants to play, especially in front of the net. I mean, he took 2 more guys tonight and just removed them. So I'm telling you, when Jake Oettinger or Casey DeSmith sees those kind of things, they'll love it. So I just think you like Owen said, tap the brakes a little bit here, and hopefully he just continues to put one on top of the other. And if there's room to keep him in the lineup, keep him in the lineup.
What do we have next? I know we're not
we do
done.
have 2 super chats, although I do have a slight. I may have been slightly wrong about the Wisconsin drinking age. So yes, it's 21. But in certain establishments, if you are with a parent, you are allowed to drink alcohol.
At what age?
And that only goes until 10 p.m.
Is that
It
right?
doesn't really list an age. It does
So-
say it just says including 18, 19, and 20.
If anywhere in the country, it would be Wisconsin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you got to teach them young.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you don't get to be a professional.
And it's cold, and you've got to go something with your brats and your cheese curds, and
And somebody's got to drive mom and dad home.
good point. So they have to cut them off at 10 so that you can get a ride later.
we have 2 more super chats.
All right, hit us up.
Bing bong.
We have a Bichsel and a Bichsel Johnston out of this for Marshall second. Any thoughts on Johnston getting moved around on lines? I know I saw him on the 3rd line. I think I even saw him play with the 4th line. There was a stretch where I saw him out there with Ben and Dodonov. I don't know. Did you notice if that was a full juggle or just getting Wyatt an extra shift?
I saw. I mean, I saw Robo playing on another line a couple times too. So I don't know what they were. You know, and again,
notice a forward down. I wonder if they were just mixing that. Now could have been some special teams yeah.
and everything else. So I wouldn't read too much into anything right now.
Look, the Stars, especially in a game, a hotly contested game against a good team, the coaches are going to do what they can to find a way to win. If that means mixing up a pairing here and there, like they like to roll, but sometimes it calls for this or that.
Well, and you also sometimes want to, try a guy on a different line because if somebody should go down at some point, have to go back into the locker room for 5 minutes. You want to know who can come up and play with the other 2 guys.
And we know Wyatt's got chemistry with jamiebenn. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, so. I mean, Wyatt can probably play on any line. I mean, you want Wyatt in situations where he takes advantage of, the offensive skills that he has.
Last super chat from Ardell. We kind of answered this already, but here it is.
Yeah, but we still have to give a little shout out to Ardell anyway. So we have a little Bichsel Hintz as opposed to, was it I Love Misty that did the Hintz Bichsel? That was a pricier super chat.
That is correct, yep.
Best Eastern Conference team in your barn tonight, and your best players were your best players. And how about the Swiss kid, Bichsel? Bish, please. Yeah, so this is not the concern, Luds. We know this is a good team, and they seem to do very well. Most teams do, getting themselves up to play other good teams, right? The stumbling blocks recently. Chicago on the road, losing to Anaheim at home, Nashville at home. Those are ones where you'd like to be better. I still think that this team is better than that. Last year, one of the things that I thought really set the Stars apart was they didn't seem to play down to their competition. In fact, they seemed to play the same and blow away their competition a lot of times. But you're going to have these dips in games at times, and maybe it's the Anaheims or the Nashvilles or whatever. But I still think that this team the really good teams or athletes, it doesn't matter if it's an individual or team sport, have a killer instinct. They're able to get out there and get to their high level early and not have to ease into games.
I just think that last year, because their three lines, their top three, were all going so good, it was the second line can't be lower than the first line, and the third line couldn't play any less than the second line, and all over because they were fighting for ice time. And then they figured it out that we don't have to fight for the ice time because we're getting it evenly because we're all going. They don't have that right now from the standpoint of what they had last year. And I think they're still going to continue to search, for the right chemistry. And I think they're still looking for something in one or two spots. So it's a different group than last year, and it doesn't have the three line all the time explosiveness right now.
We're going to get to Sam in our next segment here on the postgame show, but a quick shout out to William Bradley, who joined the chat, said, love listening to you guys. Want to say hi from Austin. Go Stars. I know you're not the only one from the Austin area that's tuning in. Hi, Court, and probably some others too. Right here on the DLLS Dallas Stars postgame show. But first, before we get to how Sam lives and is alive, let's talk about being a diehard. We appreciate everybody that tunes in, whether you're watching live, listening to us on the podcast later, watching us later after it's recorded, or diving into the chat and letting us know where you're at right now. All of that is fantastic. But way to elevate that even further is to sign up to be a diehard. Use the QR code on the screen, go to the website alldls.com, which you should be familiar with by now anyway, because that's the hub of all of our stuff, whether it's our writing, whether it's links to all of our YouTube videos, or the merchandise store. And John has flashed those pictures of the t-shirts. If you sign up to be a diehard, you get a promo code for one free t-shirt from that DLLS merch store. Mine is on the way. I was a little reluctant to order them early on. Like some of the other people here at DLLS, I wanted them to give me a couple. I got a couple, barely. I had to, Luddy shrunk his by accident the other day.
I'm hoping I get one for the Christmas party.
That green one that you had was one that was a smaller size anyway, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a smaller size.
Yeah. So they're fantastic shirts. They run a little on the small side. So I think if you're not quite sure, you might want to go up a size, but they're fantastic. I have 5 or 6 more coming. So on regular shirt days, or regular show days, not shirt days, I will be definitely rocking all the DLS shirts. Every single one of those pretty much. I think I got most of them. Plus that Skyline one, the black DLS with the Dallas Skyline. I love that one. That one's on the way. Maybe it's on a horse and carriage. Maybe the Pony Express is sending it. Maybe carrier pigeons are bringing it one thread at a time.
You talk long enough about this. You must be getting all these shirts for free.
No, I paid for them.
I don't know.
The one thing I did do,
I'm not sure,
was there you go. I got my 9C shirt in. There it is. That's the Tyler, or not the Tyler Seguin. That's the Mike Madonna. The 8-bit, John?
Yeah. Yep. NHL 64, right?
That's awesome. So anyway, I just utilized the Black Friday code, so I saved a little bit of money. You can become a diehard, get your first shirt for free every single year you sign up to be a diehard. Many other perks. All right. Calling Sam. Sam, the people in the chat are thrilled to see that you are indeed alive and well. Welcome back.
Yeah, I'm alive. Although I did almost just break this table that I'm sitting on. So I'm not going to sit on this anymore. So let's just, here we go. I'm just going to stand here, boys. It's about
we
the same
don't
height
need
as
you
normal
falling
people
into
sitting.
the 300 level.
Yeah, I definitely not supposed to be doing this in this booth either, because this is where some important people have to sit. But I'm here, boys. What's going on?
I don't know. You tell us.
Stars
You
win.
got any scoops? You got any scoops?
Yeah,
Any good scoops?
First of all, I did not see. I said to Owen multiple times, I did not see the Stars winning this game in the first period, even 2 periods. I just didn't see it. They did not look like they were ready to play in this game. Washington, luckily, was not converting on some open chances, but just a really gutsy win. I think Pete said it perfectly afterwards. He said, "Our best players have to be our best players when we play in these types of games," and that's very true. Not just not just against one of the best teams or the best team and the hottest team, but also when you have guys out, you're missing guys because of the flu. You've got half their team, we don't know, could have been playing through something tonight. So your best players need to step up. And he said, I mean, Esa Lindell played over 30 minutes. Miro Heiskanen was excellent. Jason Robertson, 2 assists. Roope Hintz, 2 goals. Jake Oettinger keeps them in the game all the way through until they're able to kind of figure it out and find their game, and then holds them with the lead late in the game. So best players needed to step up for them to have a chance tonight, and they did.
Do you have any update on Nils, who you spotted? By the way, do you want to show Luddy how you saw him?
I didn't bring him in here.
Sam got himself, at my suggestion, a little pair of binoculars. Perfect for spotting from the press box when he needs to see down there.
Yeah, bird watching. They don't work with they don't work with your glasses on though. Just FYI, you got to take those babies off because I was seeing 4 different benches when I tried to first look through them. But yeah, Nils Lundqvist left. Nils Lundqvist left in the third. Just saw him. He was hunched over. He looked like someone trying not to throw up. Is essentially what it looked like to me. And then he talked to the trainers, talked to the coach a little bit, jumped over the boards and headed down the tunnel. It was flu symptoms. So he was
Pete
fighting
said?
a bit. Yep, Pete confirmed it was just the flu symptoms coming up. We didn't get any further info, but he did mention multiple times this morning and in the post game that not just 1 or 2 guys, they have a lot of people that are fighting this in some way right now. So this is going to be a week of toughening.
You were right the first one. Toughing it out.
Toughing it out.
And he speaks and writes for a living.
So articulate.
Once in a while.
That's a good point though, Sam. Luds, we're always pretty critical about certain players when we go, I didn't really notice you or that. And then we have to kind of remember they might be playing with something because they don't have any more healthy bodies. And, they had to have 6D. So Nils played. He probably, I wonder if Thomas Harley wasn't sick, if Nils wouldn't have played tonight.
Yeah, I just say they got it out. They go when they have to.
Yep.
And I'm telling you, the last guy that wants to take himself out of a game is Nils. He's fighting to stay in the lineup every night.
Yeah, so I asked Pete after because there were, even before Nils went out, there was a ton of defense shuffling. I heard you guys talking about some of the forward shuffling. So I said, what was your game plan on defense? And he said, honestly, just to get 6 healthy-ish players into the game was number 1. Just to have 6 guys that could play at least a little bit. And then once the game started, to just manage that. Obviously, Nils was fighting it. We don't know who else. But we saw a ton of, Bichsel all of a sudden is out there on Miro's left. Then he's out there with Smith. Then he's out there on Miro's right. Then Lyubushkin jumps out there. It was a ton of shuffling before Nils even went out. And Pete really just said we were just trying to get through it. He was putting out whoever was ready. A lot of times that was Esa Lindell, who played, like I said, played 30, almost 31 minutes and didn't even look like he felt the after effects of it. Jake Oettinger called him the most underrated defenseman in the league. He also called him the Ovi of the PK, which I thought was pretty funny. But yeah, it just I mean, they gutted it out tonight, and it wasn't just up to the players to push through it. It was up to the coaches to figure out who they could put out at the right times. And they did a pretty good job, in my opinion.
They like to balance their time as far as time on ice, especially with the forwards. But I was just skimming the group. Like Colin Blackwell only played 952, and if you start again, I don't want to. Maybe I shouldn't speculate, but I'm just seeing some small numbers. And okay, he's a 4th line guy and penalty killer, but we noticed him. But maybe there were some shifts where he didn't go over the boards because he didn't feel right, or who knows. But you're right. That's a great point. And boy, that's a 30-16 tonight.
Yeah,
time on ice.
And I think he played all but 2 seconds of their Washington's power plays.
Well, he played 7 minutes and 58 seconds, Luds.
Yeah. Shorthanded.
That's crazy.
And they were like, each of those PKs where I was just watching that timer. I love that the Stars put up the time on ice on the bottom of the Jumbotron here. It's just really helpful to glance really quickly at it. And he was every time I looked up on the PK, it was like 240, 237, and he just right there planted in front of the net in a battle and winning his battle, blocking shots, just doing what he does. It's a fun dynamic when you talk to him too, because S is just one of those kind of really quiet guys, but he just answers the questions with a big grin on his face and looks like he's ready to get back out there. He actually said, the more I play, and he said he thinks this in general, the more you play, the more you're into the game. and he loves racking up the minutes. I'm sure they don't want him playing 31 minutes pretty often, but it doesn't seem like it phases him.
He knows how to manage his own minutes. You know, he plays the game with his head. He understands when he can leave the front of the net, when he should go in the corner, when he should move up a little bit offensively at times. He just reads the game so well, and his environment, what's going on, and he gets the temperature of even from the coaches, you know. And I guarantee that he's coming back to the bench and he looks at Elaine and he's like, "Okay, I'm good. You can send me back out there when you need me."
What was the game? Was it a couple ago where it felt like he was playing more as a forward at times?
Yeah, so that's what I mean. Like there's he understands how the pace of the game is going, and the opponent, and who he's playing against, and who's sick and who's not sick. And you know, tonight, they're going to need me on the penalty kill, and so I'm going to have to, manage the rest of my game to be able to stay out here as long as I need to.
Sam, we were talking about schedule for the rest of the week, and then I brought it up with Luds a little bit about what they're trying to get through. What are you feeling about what we're going to see in the next few days?
Yeah, so they are going to practice tomorrow. They have a cool little kind of Make-A-Wish type thing tomorrow, so that could be a part of it. But I was saying to Owen, they're scheduled to practice every day they don't play a game. So that's Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. I do not think they are going to do that. I think that would be ridiculous any week, but specifically while fighting what's going on right now, I wouldn't be surprised if two of those got canceled or just turned into some sort of film or off ice thing. But as of right now, they are practicing tomorrow, 11:30 at Comerica, and I know they probably will not cancel Saturday because it's a community practice in Euless.
Yeah, they're in Euless. Yep, at the Star Center.
So at least two. I wouldn't be surprised if Thursday or Sunday were canceled. But it's a busy week, and I I hate to say it, but the Rangers might be their biggest break of this week. That might be the best blessing the Stars could have, because a Rangers team that was as good as expected going into this season, and this week looks a lot tougher. It's already tough, but that game is a little bit easier on Friday than it originally looked.
What are you saying? The Rangers are a pushover?
I'm
Is that what you're saying, Sam? You're the reason there's trap games.
He needs some milk.
I'm gonna call them a dumpster fire, not a pushover.
Well, things have definitely not been going the right direction for the Broadway Blue Shirts. We'll see them on Friday. We'll see the Leafs on Wednesday, which is always a big deal for all the Toronto guys that are on the Stars. And there's a bunch of them that grew up in the suburbs around Toronto. But I think we should probably do our Herman Marshall marquee moment of the match. And you can do so by checking out your favorite bottle, picking it up at your closest goody-goody liquor store.
Well, for all the reasons that Sam was talking about, I got two of them tonight. I'm going with these two guys that were in the moments and Miro and Essa. They were in the moments, a lot of moments where they had to kill some penalties and power play. We don't see Miro on the PK much. He had 3.5 minutes on the PK, and so those moments that he was out there and being able to survive, chewing up all the minutes tonight.
And it didn't hurt to have Miro available when you've got another guy in the box, like Brendan Smith, who would otherwise be out there killing some of the penalties.
Yep.
So, for every bottle of single barrel straight bourbon whiskey, Herman Marshall donates 15% of its revenues to the Guns N' Hoses Foundation of North Texas for those who went before. Stop into your closest goody-goody liquor store to find your favorite bottle. And as Luds gives you a demonstration of how that sounds, Texas Twist says you need a shot, marquee moment.
They keep getting bigger.
The shots? Yeah. Well,
And I'm driving the bus.
Let's give Sam the first one. Sam,
I drove
you're back.
a bus.
Sam, are you alive over there?
Yeah, I'm just reading the chat while you guys were doing your marquee moment.
Okay. Well, you have about
He's multitasking.
60 seconds before I have to say so long to our TV viewers. So, who's your man of the match tonight?
I don't need 60 seconds. Jake Oettinger. I think that without Jake Oettinger, this game could have been 2-0, 3-0 early on, and I believe that they could have tied the game later. I think he absolutely helped them. I mean, it was a huge game for him too against Lindgren, former same high school, same birthday in a couple of days, which is super crazy. But I think Oettinger was huge tonight and showed again that he is determined to be an elite goaltender this year.
Buddy, how about you? Who's your man of the match?
You better. Roope Hintz. Good enough?
You don't need 30 seconds. Roope with 2 goals.
I got 30 seconds? Okay. Yeah, Roope. I mean, geez, he was the star of the show tonight. He was flying. Well, you're not going to get a chance. He was flying.
I'm muting my mic when I tell you these things.
Hey, and Sam, we take Jake Oettinger for granted sometimes.
Thanks to everyone who joined in on our television platforms. Make sure to like and subscribe here on the pod and check out alldls.com. Okay, back to
that
Lutz.
was a short 20 or 30, whatever you wanted to call it. So, but I want to say, Sam, what's that?
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was going to say, you said Roope was flying. Jake said that he often thinks that Roope is skating on one of those, I forget what they're called at the airport, the things that you go on.
An airplane?
No, he's talking about
the walkway?
Treadmill. Yeah. Whatever that's
treadmill.
called. That's he says that he feels that sometimes Roope is skating on one of those and the rest of the players on the ice are not. I thought that was pretty funny.
It does look like that, you know, when somebody's walking on the regular floor and then somebody's doing the full power walk, you just kind of.
You think everybody listening doesn't know what the hell we're talking about? They know what.
I think everybody knows.
I was going to call it an escalator, but it's not that. I don't know.
What's it called?
It's a travelator.
Tell it.
What's it called?
A travelator.
A travelator?
Isn't it a moving walkway?
That both.
I was close.
I think it might depend on what part of the country you're in.
A travelator. I've never heard that term.
I was close with a treadmill.
You do know there are actually 4 Stooges, right?
Are there?
You didn't know that? Do you actually think there
were
only
5
3?
Beatles too?
There's 4 Stooges.
Is there?
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that. Anyway.
We're Stooges now?
Mo, Shem, Curly,
Well,
Larry.
Fellas, it doesn't get easier for the Stars because they just faced the #1 team in the Eastern Conference, and they had the best point percentage in the league because they had a few games in hand on Winnipeg, who has the most points at 45. They have through 32 games. But they get to play the team that is currently sitting on top of the Atlantic Division now, and that would be the Toronto Maple Leafs. Toronto has 40 points in 31 games. They are tied with Florida, but Florida's played 32 games. So the next game, Wednesday night, it's actually a little early. It's a 6:30 game. So instead of our usual 6:15 pregame show for a 7, we'll actually be on from 5:45 to 6:15 ahead of the 6:30 start. So, Luds, what are you looking for the old Toronto Maple Leafs coming to town for their annual visit?
I'm actually interested to see in how they handle them in the defensive zone because it's a team, like I mentioned before, they skate, they interchange lanes, they go from one side to the ice. They're a puck possession team. Lots of skill. Are we going to see Matthews? Right. He's healthy and back. Marner's healthy and back.
Yeah, they put them together a little bit the other night.
Tavares came out.
They're all healthy and back.
Tavares is coming off of a hat trick. And I think there's a guy by the name of Chris Tanev that'll probably be in town.
Definitely.
You forgot about him, didn't you?
No, I didn't. I forgot. I didn't think about him with the context of the Leafs, but boy, how could you forget what he did and just how seamlessly he fit in? Look, it didn't work out financially to re-sign him, but it would be silly to say that he wouldn't instantly upgrade this decor right now.
And they're a different team. They're being coached by a different guy.
Yeah, Craig Berube, very different.
A different mindset, and he's going through a team and trying to teach them how to win in the playoffs in the regular 82 games. So I think you're going to see a little bit tighter Toronto Maple Leafs where they're not exchanging chances all the time. And I think it's going to be a good opponent. It should be a good game for sure. And I will expect Jake Oettinger to play again. I don't know, Sam. What do you think?
It would be a 7th consecutive start.
Why is that?
It's not.
I think Casey plays on Friday. So I agree.
Oh, he plays against Toronto? Really?
No, you think he's saying
on
Friday. On Friday, okay.
New York.
Yeah, I think
Jake plays again.
This is a big
game. Yeah, and I think I have to look at the stats, but I feel like Toronto has absolutely owned the Stars, especially in this building over the past 3-5 years. So it's a big game for a lot of reasons, and they're going to have a lot to handle because this was a very strong physical team that can play well in front of the net. Toronto is a very fast, skilled team, so it's a whole different challenge.
Well, let's just talk about these weapons. We'll do it again on our pregame show on Wednesday. By the way, we have a regular show tomorrow at 2 o'clock till 3 Central Time. Mitch Marner leading the team in points, 31 assists, 41 points. William Nylander.
Last year of a deal.
Nylander has 18 goals, leading the team in goals, 31 points. Tavares has 28. Matthews has 21. Of course, Matthews has
missed about, 12 games?
He's played 22 games versus Marner's played 31. Matthew Nyes has 11 goals. Morgan Riley's got 16 points. I mean, those are the top guys for them. Ekman Larsson's got double-digit points. But then they've got, guys with not very many points like Max Domi hasn't put up a lot of points yet. Chris Tanev has more points than Max Domi. I wouldn't have guessed that.
They have
Tanev has played every game.
Domi, Robertson, Tanev, some Toronto guys. There's a lot of stories.
Robertson,
stories in this one.
Yanni Hakanpää, although he's only played 2 games, and I think he's having another injury problem, isn't he? He's not playing right now.
I think he was just put on, I don't know if it was LTI or IR, but yeah.
Yeah, he came back, and that was exciting, and then it didn't last, unfortunately. I would love to have seen Yanni Hakanpää come back just to get the ovation because he's been a good Dallas Star, part of the Finnish Mafia. But, yeah, there's a lot of storylines. It seems like whenever Toronto is in town, there's always a bit of a circus of one way or another.
I think the players, and again, not that you're loaded with a lot of Canadian players on this team, but they're always up for it too because they know what's going across 2 countries. I mean, when Toronto plays, everybody in Canada's watching and the broadcast will be somehow going back. So it's a good opportunity.
Yeah.
For
just think about it. You have Sagan, who's injured right now, but he's a Toronto guy. Duchesne, Marchment, Johnston, just to name a few. From that area.
I thought Johnson was American.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what Lud's just said, exactly right. Stars had to change the game to 6:30 to accompany the Wednesday night hockey or whatever. So
and there's going to be a lot of blue jerseys in that.
Oh yes.
They travel well.
You remember the couple years ago when Austin Matthews scored an overtime winner and deserved to celebrate.
Did this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't forget that. It was just one of those moments where you go, wow, that was, big time player coming up on a big stage on the road. Yeah. Oh, he's very good at that. Any final thoughts, Sam, before we wrap this one up tonight?
No, I think we said it all. I was really impressed with this game. Like I said, right off the start here on the post game, I did not think the Stars were going to win this game, at least the way they were playing early on, and I'd give them a ton of credit for gutting through it with all that was going on and beating a really, really hot and really, really good team tonight.
Luddy, I just did a quick search, and then I'll ask you your final thoughts. Dallas Stars in their I just went to 15-16. I don't know why I went back that far. Last 16 games between the Stars and the Leafs. Dallas is 3-10-3. A 281 point percentage. They have had horrible luck with Toronto.
So if you're a betting man, take the Stars.
They're due. All right, your final thoughts on this one tonight. Stars beat the Capitals.
I need a Miller Lite. There you go. Can you play that one more time? I need a Miller Lite. Enough said.
All right. Thank you for joining us tonight. For Sam Nestler, Craig Ludwig, John Anderson, and myself, Owen Newkirk, thanks for joining us. Appreciate all the chats, the super chats. We will be on the air tomorrow live at 2 o'clock. Sean will be back from his Caribbean cruise. We'll talk about that, get his take on the game, and look ahead at Toronto and all the other things we want to talk about. We also have a regular show on Thursday at 1 o'clock, Leafs on Wednesday, Rangers on Friday, and then they go back to Utah next Monday. All right here on the DLS Dallas Stars pre, post, and pod. Thanks for joining us. So long, everyone.
Tomahawk City.
We all silly like the mayor.